Bob Bush and Steve Guilkey. And David, another good match is set for us here.
Bobby Bush obviously tuned in.
You said he opted with the speed last game. That time the speed hurt him.
Exactly.
Too much speed caused it to deflect, leaving the 10.
You could watch Bobby Bush in between matches there, and he was winging that ball in his warm-ups.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the premier players in Cincinnati.
Well, here's another guy with some pretty darn good credentials, Steve Guilkey.
Steve Guilkey, I'm sure, will jump at the advantage of Bobby Bush, throwing away what he perceives to be one of his more difficult spares, missing the 10-pin in frame number 1.
Here is Guilkey.
Oh, what a great break. Throwing a bad shot and leaving the 7-pin. The right-handers equal, and both players smiling at each other. I think basically a little head game going on there. I missed mine. Why don't you just miss yours, and we'll just say, yeah, this is. We'll even this whole thing up here.
Hey, there is camaraderie among these guys. That's for sure.
It is, and unlike other sports, Bill, and again, not inferring that you don't watch bowling, but I know you're really into a lot of other sports, and this is my life, bowling. I don't see the same type of camaraderie in other sports as I do in bowling. The laughing, the patting on the backs, and the laughing as much. It looks much more intense. Now, is that for just an intimidation factor generally, or?
I don't think so. I think basically these guys are out here to have fun, and that's the bottom line. And the sport itself is to have fun. And that's a credit to these guys and their personalities. And it's nice to see.
Oh, just slightly high. I don't think he deserved that at all.
Well, your brother Tracy there, just behind Steve's right arm.
Next to Betty Vogler.
Next to Betty. There's right Tracy. There. Good-looking guy. Now, there's Irving. Is he running for council, or what's the deal here? Yeah, he's describing. Let's see what.
He's talking about how he threw that ball and just missed, and
I guess
tried to get it back.
I guess that's it.
Oh.
Almost bringing back a very difficult 4-7-10. Steve Guilkey opens the door and hands it right back to Bob Bush's open in the first frame. Not very pleased with that, and as you see that ring on his hand, I believe that's an 800 ring, and there's not too many of those in the city.
Not at all.
Bobby really struggling on that right lane to get the ball to make a move.
As we said before, we are coming to you from Stumps Lanes in Western Hills. I am Bill Hemmer, along with Dave Newrath and Jennifer Kleekamp, and we are pleased to bring you the final broadcast in this year's season of the BPA. Some pretty nice bowlers up there today as well.
A fantastic season for several reasons, and one of which, again, I want to thank you and Channel 9 for promoting the show as you have done, and it's just been a lot of fun to do, and Cincinnati has been with us for 29 years, and we're looking forward to the 30th, hopefully. And if we keep bowling like this, we will have it +3 at this particular point. Bob Bush can make it +3 if he strikes on the left-hand lane, and I predict he's going to slow it down a little bit, let it hook, and he leaves the soft 10, Bill.
I tell you, as you were talking before, Dave, it's good to be here. And I know the folks at Channel 9 have been more than happy and pleased to bring you this season of BPA. Hudy Delight, King of Bowling. It's been a great year. And
we, of course, thank Utipol and Pepsi, Howe Manufacturing, Tri-State Bowling, again, missing that 10-pin.
Second time this match. Bobby Bush leaves the 1.
The bio sheet. I'll let you read the bio sheet, Bill, if I can find it here.
Hey, David, I think you'll agree.
You stole it, I think, Jennifer.
I think you'll agree that when you're missing a particular spare, as soon as you see that you've left it, a bit of terror runs through your mind, thinking, oh, no, I'm going to miss it again. It's a lack of confidence. However, if you're making a spare all the time, you have that confidence to execute.
Both guys just not lined up on the pair. Steve Guilkey's release looks clean enough, but you're not going to really create any activity with a ball that's going to run up through the nose, leaving a very difficult spare and losing count.
Steve does a lot of bowling real close to here over at Western Bowl, which is really a stone's throw from where we are at Stumps Lanes.
Actually, it's a driver, a good 3-wood, and catching all of a 6-iron, I think.
Around the Burger King.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. So I tell you what,
that's
Steve,
where I do 4-putt.
taking a sigh of relief, Steve Guilkey there, and Bobby's going to make some adjustments to his equipment here, or either to his hand, one or the other. Something's not quite feeling right. Hanging up in the ball, perhaps a bit of humidity. We've got all kinds of variables in this game, Bill.
I tell you what, we have seen Bobby Bush bowl quite a bit this year on the BPA, and this is not how he wants to go out, that's for sure.
No, especially when there's $1,500 on the line. Steve throwing a very good shot there.
Certainly. Steve lives over in Bellevue, Kentucky, but he's made the trek over here, as he does quite a bit, as we said. Bowls a lot at Western Bowl, as well as Bellwood Lanes over in northern Kentucky.
Bobby Bush trails by 9 and still not quite getting the ball to roll off. Now, Jennifer, here on this particular case, would you go to a softer ball and keep your speed up, or would you try to slow down just a little bit to get the better ball reaction?
I think he needs to slow down a little bit, although I think that slowing down is something that's very difficult to do when you get below your normal speed of your normal approach. He may want to stay with the same game and throw a ball that's going to hook a little more.
See, in our game too, Bill, I don't know if you watch these guys walk in, but it's almost like they need a U-Haul to come in here. You know, you come in with 6 different balls, and they're all different weighted differently, not gross weight, but different weight distributions and different surfaces, hardnesses, not to mention the colors, which I still haven't figured all that stuff out, Jen, but going wide again and leaving a 2-pin, the ball just not finishing. He needs to make a move, either in with a softer piece of equipment or play out with a harder piece of equipment. But if you stay where you're not having success, you're going to die.
Yeah, especially in 10 frames, that can be so short of an amount of time. You can get behind so quickly. You've got to regroup immediately.
We're going to step out for a quick break. We are halfway through our second match here with Bobby Bush and Steve Guilkey. Stay with us. We'll be back with more bowling right after this.
Yes, indeed. Coleraine Bowl, Crossgate, Delfair Lanes, Durban, Eastgate Lanes, Glenmore Bowl and Shuey at Glen Schmitz over in Kentucky, Green Hills, Harrison, Hides, and Holly Lanes.
You got the right one, baby. You know, I just love this new Diet Pepsi song, but do you think it's caught on yet?
You got the right one, baby. You got the right.
Bush and Steve Guilkey are locked up in one right now. Guilkey set the bowl again.
Nobody really taking charge yet.
You take it, I don't want it match. One of those.
Steve is working on a double, however. Throwing a horrible shot there, going right through the heart.
Breaking down the split again, and that's a sign, Bill, of good clean roll. If you throw a bad shot and it goes through the heart or too heavy into the head pin, and you break down the split, that's a sign that the ball is rolling cleanly and you're getting some good pin action, even though you've made a bad shot. Whereas a lesser average bowler may leave that split, the better bowler will break things up.
That certainly helps him.
Plus 10, not all bad, but a lot of paper left in game 2.
You could see the relief on Steve Guilkey's face right there. A heavy sigh of relief. That must feel good for him to be able to pick that spare up and continue his lead here. We see it now at 10 pins.
Well, let me tell you something. If I was Steve Guilkey, I'd want to strike here, and then I'd want to see that man in the very next frame leave a solid 10.
Really?
Just to see what would happen. But I'm that kind of guy.
We know that.
And instead of him leaving the solid 10, Steve leaves the soft 7.
And just as quickly as you saw the relief come to his face, you saw the frustration come back when he saw the 7 stay there.
The concern is a factor. And
Dave, let me ask you this. Would you rather be a right-handed bowler in this case? Absolutely.
Actually, it's worked out almost exactly to the statistics this year. There have been years before where one side has dominated more than percentages, but typically there's like 28% of the total number of bowlers are left-handed, and our percentages this year are almost dead to that. In past years, there has been some overabundance of right or left-handed domination. And it says a lot for the BPA to be able to control that percentage to a point where every player has an equal advantage to come out and throw a good shot. And if you do that, you're rewarded for it appropriately.
Well, let's see the match here. Steve's still up by 10. Both have spares posted, but the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th coming up. Anybody's match. Bobby seems to be struggling a little bit more than what we're used to. I can't exactly pick out what in his game is going wrong.
Well, let's see if we can get an ISO on his approach and just really kind of analyze the push away with the steps. We'll see if we can get that together for you, Jen, because typically, as you know, these types of mistakes are caused by a timing error, and that timing error. Now, he's dropping, it looks right there, it looks like he's dropping the ball down early rather than pushing it out and getting into a good swing.
Which would
see if we can take a look at it. Well, that's right. See, there, the ball goes down a little too soon. Feet get there ahead of the ball, and they just don't have the really good leverage to come through and drive through as it should, and he spins the ball more.
That would account for the 10 pins he's left.
Steve Guilkey, the baby finger tucked under. More
that can be painful.
More forward roll, and it works. It works for Steve Guilkey. Made a great approach shot here. Take a look at it here, folks. The baby finger's tucked under, and we got a little heel-toe action. Now watch his wrist come through. Hand right behind, and then underneath the ball, goes through it cleanly. And then the 1-2 pocket is filled up as he steps out of the way. Thank you, Stephen. And that was a great shot. If he can follow that up with one more, he can increase his lead that he has now of 10 pins to 20.
He can still get to 225 if he goes all the way off the sheet.
How much is Bobby Bush starting to think right now? He sees Guilkey roll the strike. Come back with another one right here.
Well, it's not even just throwing a strike, Bill. It's the type of strike that he just witnessed, and it was an awesome strike where you throw the 5-pin with authority into another pin. It's not just a solid strike or a wimpy strike. It's a solid strike. So Bobby Bush knows that he's got to get it together, and he's got to get it together now. And he throws a great shot.
Bobby's saying, what the heck do I got to do here to avoid this?
Well, he went with the extra speed, Jennifer, to hold the line and to maintain his control, but again, not quite. He made one.
Smash.
Well, you know, in the majors, that's all right. You know, 1 for 3, that's 333.
Yep.
That nets you about $4 million a year, doesn't it?
Doesn't work in this game,
Doesn't
man. That's your addition. Bobby Bush now down 20 pins.
I cannot understand why Bobby being as good a bowler as he is, not making some sort of more obvious adjustment than he is. He's not in a good strike zone. The ball's not reacting well. Jennifer, is he being pig-headed, or what's the deal here?
Well, that's where 10 frames can really come into play. You've got to make moves, and you cannot be afraid to do it. You can't just make these little half-board or one-board moves with your eyes or your feet. You got to really go for it, especially at this point in the game.
Steve Guilkey's going to go for it right now, and wiping the oil off his ball, knows that he can really just stick a dagger in the heart of Bobby Bush if he throws this one. The 9th frame. This would make 3 in a row, and it would put the game basically out of reach if it's a good shot, and it looks close.
Boy, he is really getting some action on that head pin.
Hacha, hacha, here we go. Head pin to the wall. That's what we want on the show. And Steve Guilkey from the floor. We're going to see it. And I'm not sure we're going to believe it, but the head pin center of your screen is going to go to the right-hand side of your screen and then come back across. There you see it hitting the wall, coming back across. Boom, everything's out of here. Hudy Delight. BPA King of Bowling brings you the exciting matches, 31 pins. And any sort of a mark here, and it's over.
Just the way you want to go out. And Steve Guilkey at 35 years old. Looks like he's pretty set to take on Ron Bonner as we try and crown a king.
Oh, we weren't fortunate enough to have you on the 2 prior telecasts where Steve Guilkey appeared. But Jen, we remarked then that we couldn't believe that Steve rolled the ball so well and couldn't win or didn't produce the big score, and today showed us some clutch shots.
He was just saving it for the big bucks, $1,500.
He is grooving right now.
Well, the hot hand in town, we've said it for about 4 or 5 weeks. Ron Bonner warming up on lanes 1 and 2 here at Stumps, getting ready to face this man, Stephen Guilkey, who has just salted this match away. Bobby Bush could have 2 or 3 more frames, and it still wouldn't be enough to do it. Little sigh of relief, and he's going to go on to our championship match.
Hey, and speaking with Ron Bonner before the match today, he's a man of confidence. He feels like right now is the groove he needs to be in to win it all here.
Bobby just going to go up and throw out, as is the rule, by the way, folks. For those of you that wonder if a match is mathematically over, it's still in the rule book that it does have to finish, even if we go off the air. Trust me, the match is finished, and the numbers are logged in. The best he can possibly do is nowhere near his potential. Bobby Bush has featured 240s, 250s. I think his high game of the year was 260 something. And in this particular case, if he strikes on the fill ball, will be 173. A very disappointing defeat.
Well, at 21 years old, Bob Bush will certainly be back. And as for Steve Guilkey, at 35 years of age, he is set to fight it out for the championship. And that's exactly where we're headed when we come back. It will be Steve Guilkey against Ron Bonner for the 1991 BPA King of Bowling. Stay with us.
Come on down